More than anyone else, Carroll O'Connor carried a deep personal dislike that shaped how people later viewed him. Long before fame, he was born John Carroll O'Connor on August 2, 1924, in the Bronx, New York. Raised in a proud Irish-American household, he grew up surrounded by books, stories, and strong traditions. Life during the Great Depression wasn't easy, and those hard years gave him an early understanding of struggle, class differences, and how sharply opinions can divide people, ideas that would later show up clearly in his performances. Education mattered deeply to him. He studied at Wake Forest University and later the University of Montana, but his academic path was interrupted when World War II called him into service with the United States Merchant Marine. That period changed him. The discipline, danger, and human complexity he witnessed left a lasting mark on how he understood people and their behavior. After the war ended, O'Connor returned to school and completed a degree in English. His love for words, literature, and human expression first pushed him toward teaching. Acting wasn't the original plan, but it soon became impossible to ignore. In the 1950s, he traveled overseas to Ireland and enrolled at University College Dublin. Living abroad opened his eyes to theater in a deeper way, and he began performing on stage, slowly refining his skills and building confidence. When he came back to the United States, O'Connor spent the 1960s grinding for work. Success didn't come fast. He took guest roles on television and supporting parts in films, including appearances in Cleopatra, 1963, What Did You Do in the War, Daddy, 1966, and Point Blank, 1967. These roles proved he could do it all: serious drama, sharp intensity, and subtle comedy, often stealing scenes without being the lead. Everything changed in the 1970s. That's when O'Connor landed the role that would define his career and change television forever: Archie Bunker on All in the Family, 1971 to 1979. Archie was a working-class man from Queens, loud, stubborn, and full of opinions that reflected the deep social tensions at the time. Many actors would run from a character like that. O'Connor leaned in. Instead of playing Archie as a joke, he gave him layers. Beneath the anger and prejudice, he added insecurity, fear, and moments of surprising humanity. Archie wasn't just a character. You could see him everywhere. Through O'Connor's performance, the show forced America to confront racism, gender roles, politics, war, and economic struggle in a way primetime television had never dared before. People didn't always agree with Archie Bunker, but they recognized him. They laughed at him, laughed with him, and sometimes saw uncomfortable pieces of themselves reflected back. All in the Family became a cultural landmark, and O'Connor's work earned him 4 Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. He later continued the role in Archie Bunker's Place, 1979 to 1983, extending the character's impact even further. Still, O'Connor refused to be boxed in by one role. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, he surprised audiences again by playing Chief Bill Gillespie in the Heat of the Night, 1988 to 1995. This time, he portrayed a thoughtful and evolving police chief in a small Mississippi town. Unlike Archie, Gillespie was a man capable of change, someone who learned from his mistakes and faced racial tension with growing awareness and empathy. Through every phase of his career, O'Connor proved one thing: great acting isn't about being liked, it's about being real. And in the end, that honesty is what made his legacy impossible to forget. Carroll O'Connor wasn't just the face audiences saw on screen. Behind the scenes, he also worked as a writer and producer, proving his talent went far beyond acting alone. His ideas and leadership helped In the Heat of the Night grow into a long-running hit, showing that he was just as strong at shaping stories as he was at performing them. The series became a clear example of his creative range and his influence within the television industry. While his career was reaching new heights, his personal life took a powerful turn. In 1962, during the filming of the massive historical epic Cleopatra in Rome, a production famous for its excess, budget problems, and non-stop pressure, O'Connor and his wife, Nancy O'Connor, made a decision that would change their lives forever. Amid the chaos of working alongside stars like Ella Thor-Taylor and Richard Burton, the couple chose to adopt a young infant. They named the child Hugh, a name filled with meaning. It honored O'Connor's brother, who had passed away just a year earlier. This wasn't just an act of kindness, it was a deeply emotional choice that blended love, loss, and remembrance. Even while navigating the demands of an international film production, O'Connor made family his priority. Bringing Hugh into their home marked a turning point, adding joy to their lives while keeping the memory of a loved one alive. As Hugh grew older, he naturally became familiar with the world of television through his father's work. By the age of 17, he landed a small but important job on the set of Archie Bunker's Place, working as a courier. Though the role was modest, it allowed him to experience firsthand the environment that had defined much of his father's career. For O'Connor, this wasn't just a job opportunity, it was a chance to teach responsibility, discipline, and respect for hard work. Later on, O'Connor went even further. He created the character of Officer Lonnie Jameson on In the Heat of the Night, specifically for Hugh. This wasn't simply favoritism or career help. It was a father offering his son a safe space to grow creatively, guided by someone who understood both the rewards and the harsh realities of the acting world. The gesture revealed how deeply O'Connor blended his roles as a parent and mentor. Then came unimaginable tragedy. On March 28, 1995, Hugh died by suicide after years of struggling with drug addiction. The loss shattered O'Connor's world. Losing a child is a pain no parent ever recovers from, and for O'Connor, the grief was overwhelming. Instead of retreating from the public eye, he chose a different path. He transformed his heartbreak into action, speaking openly about his son's struggles and the dangers of substance abuse. O'Connor appeared in public service announcements for the Partnership for a Drug-Free America, using his fame and personal story to warn others about the real cost of addiction. His message was not abstract, it was painfully real. For the rest of his life, O'Connor remained committed to raising awareness about drug addiction. He advocated for compassion, understanding, and early intervention, hoping to spare other families from the same loss. Through this work, he showed remarkable strength, turning personal tragedy into a mission to help others. His legacy grew to include not just his legendary acting career, but also his role as a devoted father and passionate advocate. Yet, for all his depth and compassion, Carroll O'Connor was never shy about speaking his mind. Best known for playing Archie Bunker on All in the Family, he was brutally honest about people he disliked, and Rob Reiner was at the top of that list. Reiner, who played Archie's son-in-law, Michael Meathead Stivic, became the target of O'Connor's long-standing resentment. In interviews and private conversations, O'Connor openly admitted his feelings, once stating flatly, "I've never hated anyone as much as I hated Rob Reiner." This wasn't a fleeting disagreement or a minor clash on set. It was a deep, ongoing animosity that lasted for years. Their tension wasn't typical workplace friction. It stemmed from clashing personalities, opposing egos, and very different views on acting and life. That conflict lingered throughout the show, quietly shaping O'Connor's experience behind the scenes. From O'Connor's point of view, Rob Reiner didn't just walk onto the set, he changed the mood of the room. O'Connor believed Reiner's attitude slowly chipped away at the teamwork the cast was supposed to share. In his eyes, the trouble started with how Reiner saw himself. O'Connor once suggested that Rob carried himself like the smartest person in the room, convinced he held the moral high ground simply because he played the outspoken liberal son. As someone who took his craft seriously and poured everything into making Archie Bunker feel real, O'Connor found that confidence irritating. To him, it wasn't only about acting choices, it was the sense of superiority Reiner seemed to bring to work each day, the quiet judgment, the constant pushback, and the way he questioned O'Connor's control over the character he had built from the ground up. Over time, O'Connor openly labeled Reiner as arrogant and hard to tolerate. He felt the behavior crossed a line, moving past normal creative differences into something that felt intentional and disrespectful. In his view, Reiner wasn't just challenging his performance, he was unsettling the balance of the entire cast and crew, creating tension that lingered on set. The resentment grew deeper because there was no personal bond to soften it. While other actors joked, shared stories, and formed friendships, O'Connor experienced Reiner as cold and dismissive. He later reflected that there was never a moment when he felt any genuine friendship. To him, Rob always seemed to be proving a point, competing for attention in ways that drained his energy. As a result, he felt alone, constantly defending both his character and his own professional value. Their day-to-day interactions were often strained. Long shooting hours only made things worse, and creative disagreements quickly turned into uncomfortable standoffs. Reiner's presence, O'Connor felt, magnified every frustration. Beyond personal dislike, there was also a deeper clash in how they viewed the story itself. O'Connor saw Archie Bunker as a layered, complicated character who required careful balance. Reiner, on the other hand, leaned heavily into satire and political messaging. To O'Connor, this reduced the father-son relationship to a non-stop moral lecture. He once made it clear that he wasn't there to be schooled on ideology. In his mind, he was an actor doing a job, not a preacher delivering lessons. That tension made their scenes harder to play, as O'Connor worked to stay true to Archie while navigating Reiner's impulses. Even with all this bitterness, O'Connor kept his emotions in check on camera. His professionalism never slipped. In fact, the real tension between them may have added to the raw energy audiences felt in Archie and Michael's scenes. Ironically, the conflict off-screen helped fuel the chemistry on-screen, though O'Connor himself would likely have brushed that idea aside. Privately, however, his opinion never changed. He maintained until the end of his life that no one he worked with bothered him more than Rob Reiner. For O'Connor, that dislike stood above all others. In the end, his feelings reflected who he was, a man deeply devoted to his craft, fiercely protective of his artistic vision, and unwilling to tolerate behavior he found disrespectful. While viewers saw Archie Bunker's gruff charm and sharp humor, behind the scenes there was real friction that shaped O'Connor's experience on All in the Family. The story is a reminder that iconic performances often hide real-life tension just as intense as anything written into a script. Carroll O'Connor, the legendary actor forever linked to Archie Bunker, passed away on June 21, 2001, at the age of 76. He died in Culver City, California, after suffering a heart attack following years of health struggles related to diabetes. His legacy lives on, complex, influential, and marked by both brilliance and conflict. Over the years, diabetes quietly took its toll, placing constant strain on O'Connor's heart and slowly weakening it. In the end, that long battle likely left him exposed to the cardiac event that claimed his life. With his passing, American television lost more than an actor, it lost a giant. Through Archie Bunker, O'Connor delivered sharp humor, emotional depth, and fearless social commentary, turning the character into a mirror of working-class America and a lasting cultural symbol. After his death, O'Connor was laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, a revered burial ground for many of Hollywood's most celebrated figures. His placement there reflected not only his stature in the industry, but also the deep respect he earned from colleagues and audiences alike. Adding to the gravity of the site, a cenotaph honoring his son, Hugh, was placed on the same gravestone. That single heartfelt gesture spoke volumes. Hugh, whom O'Connor adopted during a pivotal chapter of his life, remained at the center of his world. The cenotaph was more than a memorial, it was a quiet declaration of a father's enduring love and the unbreakable bond they shared. In many ways, it revealed the man behind the fame, showing how closely his private life was woven into his public legacy. Today, the gravestone, marked by both O'Connor's own name and the memory of his son, stands as a powerful reminder of a life defined not just by iconic performances, but by family, loyalty, and love. And long after the curtain has fallen, that legacy continues to speak.